Hi, welcome. Now in this series for VLOOKUP, I'm going to run you through it from the basic point to an advanced level on how you can use the VLOOKUP or other lookup functions. Now I must mention that this course has been brought to you by our partners, Woman of Skill Maid Center. They're a maid center with quality maids. So for any assistance with maids, general workers, please get in touch with them. All right, let's get back. So now what we're going to look at is all types of VLOOKUPs, and from here we'll cut all these topics. We have 25 examples in these short courses. So let's go to our data here. Some of the examples that we're going to be giving you is that you've got data here with which has got an invoice. You've got soda drinks which are being sold. You want to be able to pick a drink, and based on this drink that you've picked, you want automatically the price of that drink to be shown. You will have probably the data arranged in horizontal order. In this case, you would want to use the HLOOKUP. I'll show you how you can be able to do that. For instance, you're dealing with commissions. Somebody makes a sales up to this level. How much commission should they be able to get? VLOOKUP can assist you to do this. You've got a monthly payroll period which you have to look at. So for instance, you are looking at an amount which has been made. You can be able to check out how much task has to be done, all those things. You can use VLOOKUP. If you're in human resource, we have an example for you. All right, let's get started. So in this case, I'm going to look at VLOOKUP based on the exact match. Now there is an approximation match and an exact match. So if you come to our first example here, I'm looking at a list of soda drinks which are being sold, and I'm looking at their ID and the date on which they are sold, and also the pricing. So I want to pick a particular soda drink here, then I have its product number. Then I would also want to have the price. Okay, so to do this, what we'll do is that we'll go to we'll pick the soda drink that we want to do. Let's say Fanta. Everybody's familiar with Fanta. Okay, so Fanta, that's what we want to look up. So the way VLOOKUP works is that we just say is equals. If it's your first time using formulas in Excel, whenever you want to write a formula, you start with an equal sign. It declares that you're about to write a formula. Okay, there are instances that you use a minus or a plus, but in this case we're using an equals. So you write VLOOKUP. Now immediately just type, after you've written an equal sign, immediately just type the first letter. It will give you a list of options here. It's trying to guess what are you looking at. So if you look at the formulas which have been listed here, you see that there's VLOOKUP here. So the more you type, the more accurate its guessing becomes. Okay, and when the guessing has been highlighted by a blue color, if you just type the tab button, if you press the tab key, it will accept that suggestion, and now you can continue with your formula. So in VLOOKUP, the first thing that is asking you is, what is the lookup value? Now the lookup value is the value that you want to, which you have separated, that you want to look up. So in this case, my lookup value is that one, Fanta. So I click on my lookup value, then I say comma, then what is my table array? So the table array is the table in which this value is in. Now remember, VLOOKUP only sees things on the right side. So if for instance my drinks were probably on the right end here, it wasn't going to be able to work out, because VLOOKUP only focuses going on the right direction. So in this case, our data is placed in this direction, we just highlight. So I highlight my data. Now the reason why when highlighting my data it's appearing as vtable is because I've given it a name. Okay, so what I'm going to do, that I'm going to remove the name so that I show you how you are supposed to do this. I'll go to my data, to my formula, name manager. Name manager. I'm going just to delete this. So I'll come and say delete, and I'm going to delete this. Okay. Alright, we close that. So let's pick it up where we left it. Equals VLOOKUP. Now our lookup value is that one, Fanta, comma, our lookup table. So our lookup table is that one. Now you see, now because we have removed the naming range, the name which we had given to this table, this is why it's appearing as A5 to D12. So this is the range. Okay, now the next thing that is asking you is that what is the column index number? Now the column index number here is simply from the actual table where it's looking up there, Fanta, because it has to be the first one. So from the actual column, how many columns does it have to look in order to be able to find the product that it was to return? So in this case, we want to return the product number. Now the product number is in column 2. You have to count from the first one, 1, 2. So which means we put 2. Our column number is 2, comma. What type of a match is this? So when we say the Fanta, should it be an approximate or an exact match? An exact match, it means that the spelling must be equal, everything must be equal. Alright, so in this case we want an exact match. Now for an exact match, it's showing you false here. So if I double click it to give me false, or if I enter 0, it is equivalent to false, because false in Excel is represented as 0. Alright, so I'll just double click on the false, then close my bracket, then press enter. So if I look at Fanta, this is the product number, so it has returned to me the product number. Okay, so let us look at another thing here. We want to look at the date, on which the date. So if for me to pick up the date, I'll just come here, let me just copy the date, I'll paste my date here, then I want to look up this date so that I can return the price. Now to do this, this is what you're going to do. You say equals, as I told you, VLOOKUP, press the tab key in order to be able to return to accept the suggestion. Our lookup value is that date there, comma. Now here we're asked what is our table array. Now in this case, because we're starting from the date, okay, because we're starting from the date, we're not going to start from the very beginning of this table, but we'll just highlight where the date is starting from, then say comma, then our column index in this case still remains 2, so we put our 2 there, comma. What type of a match? This date must be exact, so we go with the false. In this case I'll use the 0. You can use the false or the 0 itself. Then you'll see that this date is corresponding to the price which has been set. So that's how you do it. Okay, now let us look at another example here. I want to be able to look up at these products, but what I want to do is that if I'm given an error, I want to know how I should be able to handle it. So let's do this. In this case, I provide the name. Let's say I'm looking for Mirinda. Okay, I want to look up Mirinda, so I'll say equals VLOOKUP. My lookup value is that, comma, my table array is that, okay, comma, the column index, this is the product number, is 2, okay, comma, then the type of match which I want for this one is an exact one, so I go with a false, I close. If I press enter, it returns to me the ID number, which is that one. Okay, so now what if in a case that in my typing I forgot to put the letter A on Merinda? Because I'm looking at an exact match here, it gives me a non-applicable error. Now when you have this error, at times you might not, someone who's not very familiar with Excel, they might not understand what this error means. So you can be able to put it in a descriptive way by using a formula called if error. So I'm going to add if error. If error. Now what it's asking me to do is that if I get an error, what should I do? So if this value here returns an error, what should Excel say? So I'll put a comma after this value, then value if error. So in this case I wanted to say the product does not exist, so I can put a double quotation because this is text. So when you're dealing with text in a formula, you have to put double quotations around the text. So I'll say the product is not available. Okay, double quotation, then close for the if error. If I press enter, you'll see that because I've picked a wrong, I've spelled my product wrongly, I'm getting the error message, but in this case it's descriptive, which is the product is not available. But if I come and collect this, I put the A there, you'll see that it will return to me the right answer. So it's the same thing with the date that you'd be able to do. So now let us look at data validation using VLOOKUP. Now to avoid these kind of errors, like you want to look, you're typing a product and then you may miss the spelling and it gives you an error, whereas the product is there, the product that you meant is there, but because of the spelling you have missed it. So to do this, we'll use a data validation rule in order for us not to be able to miss a product due to spelling errors. So to do this, click in the cell that you want to apply the data validation, go to data. Under data you come to where it's written data validation, click on the data validation, then where it says any, select select list, then under source here you come and pick your data from here. This is the list that you're looking for, so you pick that list, then go back, say okay. So if I come down to my data, you'll see here where it says lookup value and data validation, VLOOKUP and data validation. You can come and click down there, you'll see that the names are in the drop down. Now I can easily change between them, between the product names. So I'll say equals, then I'll say VLOOKUP. So my lookup value is there, comma, then I'm going to look at my table array. So this is my table, okay, comma. Now in this case I'm not going to pick the product number, I want to pick the price. Okay, so my column index in this case will be from here it's 1 2 3 4. Okay, so it's number 4, so I'm going to put 4 there so that I can be able to return the price, comma. What type of a match? It's an exact match, so I pick on the false, then close, then press enter. So I'll see that Red Bull is being priced at 28. So the price there becomes 28. All right. Let us look at another thing here. VLOOKUP with named ranges. So in this case, if you look at our VLOOKUP here, the value which I'm looking at here, which is the red bull, it's found in this table, but this table I continuously keep on referring to it by going to highlight. But there is a way in which I can actually give it a name so that when I look it up, I just write the name and it will quickly pick it up. So how do you do this? All right, let's go to our data. So I want to give this data here. I want to give my data, the table, a name. So I highlight. When I highlight, when I come here, I can give it a name. Okay. So let's say, okay, let's give it my lookup. Don't give it a space. You can just use underscore to have a space. My lookup. I'll give it the name of my lookup. Okay. All right. Okay. I didn't press enter. My lookup. Enter. There we go. So now my table has been given a name. If I come here on the drop down, I'll see that it is there, my lookup. Okay, so now let's come to our data here. Let's give this. So now what we have here is that we want to give this a drop down, so we'll also give it a name. So let's say we give it product. So let's pick up that, then come here and say product. Okay, so now if you look at our data here, you see that there is my lookup and there's product. Okay, so let's come and give it some data validation. So we want some data validation for this one. We'll go to our data validation, then under data validation we go for list, then under list our lookup value we'll press to look at the source of the data. We'll click on F3, then we'll pick our product there, then say okay. So if I come here under my sorter, if I'll see that my data is there. So the next thing which I'm doing, I'm going to my VLOOKUP, use my VLOOKUP. I want to look up this product here, comma, my table array. Now in this case, I just press F3 to have my table appear, or what I can do is that I can type it. I said my table, my lookup. You said a suggestion has been given here, so that's the table which I'm picking from, comma, the column index. In this case, it's a product. Remember, product we're picking 2, comma, the type of match we want is the exact match. You can use the false or you can press the 0, then you can close, press enter, then you will have that appearing. Okay, so it has picked up for 7up. You see that that is the ID number or the product number. Okay, all right. Now look at this. At times, for instance, in this case, I want to look up this product. Now I want to be able to have the total. So these are the units. Let's say let's do this. I'll give this as unit sort. Then what I want is the total price. Okay, what's the total price? So in this case, I want the price to be returned here. So for me to have the price here, I'll say return using the fourth column, then it will give me the price of the product. So now what I want is to be able to have the total here. So to get the total, all I'll simply do is to say that value plus or times the units sold. So if I press enter, it will give me the total price. Okay. Now in the case that I don't want to make reference to this cell, okay, I want to come up with this total without referring to this cell, there is a way you can be able to write this in a whole entire formula. Now how you do this is this. We want to pick up our value here. Let's say our value is let's go to our data validation. Let's give it a data validation. It's going to be list, then F3, pick our product. Alright, then the next thing that we want is to pick a product from there. Let's say Coca-Cola. In this case we picked what, 7-Up. Okay, no problem, we'll do this. Let's say equals. So the first thing that we want is to say what is the formula that we are using. So the formula we are using is VLOOKUP, in order for us to be able to look up the price for Coca-Cola. So we pick up Coca-Cola there, comma, our lookup table, our table array becomes let's say F3, then we pick my lookup, there we go, comma. Now the column index here is number 4, comma, the type of match is the exact match. We close. So if I press enter here, you see it's returning 31. Even if I come here, I pick on Coca-Cola here, you see that it's returning also 31. So in this case we can come now, after getting that, we multiply it to the units there. So if I press enter, you'll see that we get the same total. Okay, so there's a way on which you can be able to look at how the formula is working. That is by going to data, let's go to formulas, formula evaluation. If I go to evaluate formula, you see this is the formula which we are having. So I will say evaluate, then you'll see that it's now showing you how the formula is working. Then there we go, it returns first, it works out the formula, then multiplies later to get the number. Okay, so that's how you'd be able to do that. Okay, so we have seen how you are supposed to be able to use the VLOOKUP. Now what we want to look at is how do you use the HLOOKUP. How do you use the HLOOKUP? Now HLOOKUP simply says horizontal, so it is a horizontal lookup. The V is for vertical lookup. So in this case I've just transposed my data, I've made it from vertical to horizontal orientation. So what I will do is that I want to look up my product here. So what I will do is that I'll say equals, then I'll say HLOOKUP. There we go, it gives us a suggestion. We press the tab to pick it up. Our lookup value is that, comma. Now the next thing that we are asking ourselves, what is our table array? Now look at this, our table array is starting from here. So here the product must be on top, so we highlight our data up to the end. Okay, then the next thing that we're doing is say comma, what is our row index number. So in this case we want to pick up the price, so it's on number 4. Here we're dealing with the row, not the column. We're dealing now with the rows. So now we say give us number 4, comma, it's supposed to be exact. We press the 0, then we press enter, and now it will give us our for Red Bull it's giving us 28, and it's correct. Alright, so try this out, let us know how it's going. See you in our next video.